So, we went to go get coffee at Crafting Common, and she had her little baby there. And I was talking to her, and I told her, I'm like, when I have kids, I told my dad, you are moving to Orlando, because he lives in Miami. You're moving to Orlando because I'm going to need a babysitter. Mm-hmm. And that's the village. Like, I'm going to bring them up here. Luckily, I have a lot of friends that have kids, too.
Yeah.
They have play dates and stuff like that. But, like, I want my dad to... First of all, he wants a grandchild probably more than I want a child.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he will be enthusiastic about spending as much time with them as possible.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
I can give to him, and then I can still go to the gym and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you think... This is just my theory, but do you think... Like, I was talking about this recently with someone, but do you think grandparents, like people, older people, our parents, want to be grandparents because it's like their shot to do it again and like do it right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Your first time around, you make a lot of mistakes because you don't know, and you're young. When you're young, you do dumb things. As you get older, you get wise.
Yeah.
You know, and then also you're nearing the end of your life, so things like children become more important. Like your family becomes more important. Everything becomes more important. You know, the hustle and material things, they start to like just those important things start to dwindle away.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like just relationships that matter most in those later years.
I watched my parents, like my mom and my dad, become really good grandparents. And it's not that they weren't bad parents, but they weren't the best. They did what they could do, you know, at the time. And so watching them be really good grandparents, I was like, oh,
yeah.
So like you could do it. Cool. No, it's fine. So there's like a little bit of resentment that I went through for a while, but now that I'm older, I get it. I'm like, yeah, of course. If you had previous knowledge, like hindsight's 20/20, if they knew then what they knew now, they probably would have done their parenting to me and my sister differently, but they couldn't. So then you have grandkids, and you're like, I know what to do. And I'm sure that feels really good and like really fulfilling.
Yeah, so I can say the same thing about my grandmother on my mom's side, because she was a very strict and hard woman with them as they were growing up. There's a whole family issue on that side, but with her, she had 3 daughters, and she was rough and tough with them the whole time. But me, when I was born, she would babysit me.
Super sweet.
Super sweet. Never hit me.
Yeah.
I mean, she would yell. She was, you know, an Italian woman. Yeah. So, you know, she would yell, oh, my God, Antonia, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But she never hit me, whereas she would attack my mom and her sisters when they were younger. And so, like, I don't know. I don't know what it is other than you've gone through it all already. You're getting older. And also, grandchildren aren't specifically their responsibility, right? Right,
yeah. It's like, probably similar to why I like being an aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can put all, removed. Like, your grandchildren, you can do all the cuddling and spoiling and all that kind of stuff. And then you leave the discipline into the parents. Yeah. You know? You're like, because you don't want to discipline your kids, but you kind of have to, and as a parent, you feel like you have to. As a grandparent, you have no obligation to discipline, and then it's like, not my kids.
I don't know, ask your mom. Yeah.
So yeah, and that's also why I think it's good to have the grandparents around too, because they'll need that extra loving, you know, because you're going to be a hard ass on them all the time. I always wonder, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be a good parent. Do you ever wonder what kind of parent you would be?
No, because I don't want kids.
Oh, you don't want kids?
I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's not in my plan right now to have kids. If I met someone who wanted to have kids and I wanted to have a kid with them, I would have one or 2 or however many. But I don't have that, like, desire to be a mom to where, like, some people are like, I'm going to be a mom, like, no matter what their life circumstances are. I don't have that drive, but...
Got it.
So... I haven't really given much thought to what kind of parent I would be, but I think for me being an aunt, like I have 2 nieces and a nephew that are a little bit older. So my sister had kids when she was young. So my nieces are like 23, 22, and my nephew I think is 18 or 19. And then I have my best friends. They both have kids, and they are 9 and 8, I believe, or turning 8. So through them, I get to like reparent myself and like have conversations with them and like handle things the way that I wish my parents would have. So I would think if I had kids, I would hopefully try to do that same thing, which is just be very conscious. And like, for me, I lacked a lot of emotional support when I was younger, growing up. So being like emotionally supportive parent.
Got it. Yeah, I think I'd be a good dad.
Yeah, I think you'd be a great dad. I think you would be the fun dad.
Yeah.
I think you would like try anything. Like if your kid came home and was like, I want to, I don't know, try art. You'd be like, all right, let's go. Let's go.
100%.
Whatever the case is. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I would probably push for them to do stuff.
Yeah.
My dad did this, and I look back and I appreciate it now. I was just too much of a lazy kid. But he pushed me to do sports. He was like, why don't you learn an instrument? Why don't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And at the time, I just wanted to like go outside and play with friends or play video games.
Yeah.
It's like one of those two things.
Yeah.
And man, I wish I would have learned an instrument.
It's okay.
Or I was into sports, but the sport I picked up was not one that could like get you into college or do your whole life.
Yeah.
That was skateboarding.
Oh, that's fun though.
But it did keep me away from, bad influences and drugs.
Yeah.
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 I was pretty much a straight edge all the way up until end of high school.
I was too. I was a
And then
kid.
I lost skateboarding and got a car. And I lived in Miami. So, those 3 years, I got a lot of partying in just those 3 years. So much so, that's actually probably the main reason why I moved to Orlando.
Yeah.
Was because I was like, I cannot succeed here.
Yeah.
In Miami. I have to go to a place where I know nobody to focus on school, because I was in school, but I was failing. I was skipping class. I was going in hungover as shit. I was going in drunk sometimes, actually. So that's Miami for you. But having said that, my friends that are still down there, a lot of them eventually smartened up anyway, and they're pretty successful now.
Yeah.
So I think staying down there, if I would have stayed with those friends, I would have been fine.
Yeah. Well, I think it takes a level of self-awareness to be like, to remove yourself from something. Like Big Moose, like what he said. He was like,
I know.
I had that moment of clarity, and I was like, I gotta get out. Like that takes like a lot of just like self-awareness.
He got in way deeper than I did, though.
Yeah.
Like.
But you don't know what would have happened if you would have stayed there, right?
Yeah.
So you were aware enough to be like I think about that too in my life. Like I have a lot of addicts in my family, like including my dad, and for some reason, growing up, I was like, I just knew that if I did something, I would like it. So that's why I never tried anything when I was a kid or younger, because I was like, I don't know, something's telling me not to do it. And to be young and naive and still listen to that part of your brain, you just have like that level of self-awareness, like, could have very well saved our lives, like to listen to that, of like, this is fun, but.
Yeah. Did you ever cave into peer pressure at all as a kid?
No.
That's great.
I remember specifically being after school at like this, someone from my class's house. I want to say in like middle school, and she like asked me, she's like, "Do you want to huff paint?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." And like I left, and I remember being like so proud of myself, being like, "No, like I'm not gonna do it." Yeah.
That's also.
But yeah, I've given into peer pressure since then, obviously. But
that's also like a crazy thing. Oh, let's go huff paint.
Well, like I guess in like 6th or 7th grade at the time, like that's what everyone was doing, or like dusters, like the.
Oh, whippets.
Whippets, that was a thing.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So I did give in to peer pressure, but there were certain things like that I just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that is stupid. Plus, my friend's girlfriend did it, and she almost like died or something.
Yeah. No.
Like she passed out. Yeah, and they couldn't wake her up for like a while.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, she dead? Is she dead?" And she eventually woke up, but she just
It's terrifying. I was
Yeah.
too scared. I think it's like when all my anxiety started was probably then. Like I had too much anxiety to try any of that.
Yeah.
I was too big, like too nervous, and like I was a nervous kid. And like I said, like I, growing up, didn't really. I mean, probably in my subconscious mind, I knew that my dad was an addict, but like I don't have memories or like I don't have like that like seeing my dad use or anything like that. I think my dad was in recovery and probably relapsed a couple times while I was young. But my subconscious mind probably formed that idea that like addiction is bad or whatever. And so I just always avoided those things. And I was terrified of it. Oh my God, like growing up, like weed. Like, I mean, you're not much younger than me, but remember, like, what did they say weed was? It was the gateway drug.
Yeah, the
It's like,
gateway
if you
drug.
smoke weed, you're going to do crack, you're going to do heroin, and you're going to die. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing that. I was a kid that, like, do you remember Dare?
Yeah, there. I was
That
just going to bring that
like,
up.
signed my name, and I was like, well, that's me forever. Never going to do it.
I remember in middle school, there, and elementary too, but mostly middle school, they came in on like a helicopter one time.
Oh my God, it's
Yeah,
so
I'm not even-
dramatic.
super. They had a whole helicopter with Dare across the side of it.
Do you remember, it was like a little off topic, but did you guys do like the demonstration where they killed someone from your class? It was like, they would like pick people and it was like this whole like, I think it was high school, like this whole demonstration where like, it's like Kim and Tom drank after prom and got in a drunk driving accident and died. And then like the whole the whole next day they would like not be there in real life. And
This
it was
sounds
like
so familiar.
Yeah.
They might have done this, and I don't remember.
I think that they did it, or I like saw it in like you know, like one of those memories. But I'm pretty sure we did that. I'll have to ask my friends I went to high school with. Like that was real, right? And they like took you out to like the football stadium, and it was like a memorial for this. Yeah. I mean, it worked, but
Yeah, that's a little intense.
Yeah,
That's
like,
a little intense.
I don't know if you can do that these days.
I don't know neither. I think actually, so our generation or not, younger generations have been doing less drugs. I think I saw statistics that they're less peer pressured. They're doing less drugs.
Yeah.
Maybe the internet and seeing so much bad things about it eventually just changed them. Or
I also think it's probably like they just have they can Google it. We couldn't. We just didn't like have the availability of knowledge that these generations now do. And I think that that's really helpful. I mean, social media could be bad, but it can also be good.
Yeah.
If you're able to get the information that you like, what happens if I do drugs and it's like you might die? They're like, well, I'm not gonna do that.
I think the internet is mostly good. Right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's mostly good. Like I think there's more
Depending on how you use
benefits to it than negatives. Obviously, it comes with negatives.
Yeah.
But the amount of information that you can get from the computer or from your device, it's super invaluable. Now you can also get a lot of junk and a lot of crap, but I think the cream floats to the top. So like the real stuff eventually gets there if you choose to believe it. If you choose to ignore it and go down rabbit holes and start listening to things that have no consensus or people are not agreeing on it, then probably that's not the right thing.
I think it's like two things come to mind. Is like when I think about like my mom and the way she uses the internet, I think there's like a level of like education that boomers just don't have. Like they just literally believe anything on the internet. Like I have to ask my mom, I'm like, where did you see that? Like where did you read that?
Yep.
Like who told you that? Is it like, did you research it? And the other aspect of it is like I think we forget that we can curate our own social media feeds. And I think it's interesting when people are like, well, I don't want to unfollow them. I'm like, if seeing this thing on your feed upsets you, annoys you, triggers you, look, why do we feel this like, well, I don't want to like unfollow them because then they'll think so. Like, unfollow them, mute them, do whatever you have to do because like you curate your own social media feed for the most part. And like the things that you follow, the accounts that you follow, the people you follow, like, you're in control of that. So when it comes to the internet, I think there is like a level of control that we sometimes tend to forget. Like you don't have to follow your ex-boyfriend it's mom. You can unfollow her, you know, like she'll be fine. And if she feels some type of way about her unfollowing you,
Yeah.
you'll never know.
I know what you mean about the parents, like going down certain things. I gotta do it with my dad all the time.
Me too, man.
Like I'll get random messages about, did you know about blah 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 blah? And it's like, I did know about this, and I probably knew about it 3 years ago, and I figured, oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I do. I have to ask him, like, where are you getting your information from?
Yeah.
You know, because there are plenty of sources that purposefully say things to outrage people.
Yeah.
And you're falling for it. And
Yeah.
I have to have the discussion with him that type of thing is prevalent on the internet. You know, people just saying things for views to excite people and get them, you know, upset or angry at a different type of group of people or whatever, you know. So I always got to tell them, you got to be careful. And another thing too is, why would you want to listen to something that outrages you so much?
Yeah.
You know, like it's upsetting you.
Yeah.
Just
turn it off.
Yeah, don't listen to it
Stop
if you're gonna
reading
get
it.
this,
Yeah.
you know, blood boiling because of it.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll learn eventually, I want to say.
Probably not. It's okay.
They're more stubborn than we are, aren't they?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, my mom is like, yes, like I talked to her the other day, and I forget what she was talking about, but what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about like things coming from China. And, like, she's like, I don't trust like when they send this stuff from China, and I'm like, Mom, like what? I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, we're just importing all this stuff, and like we don't have any regulations on it, and I'm like, what are the regulations here? Have you like why are you so mad at China? Like,
Yeah.
literally, I don't understand. And I was like, sometimes they like to deflect whoever they are. Like, they want you mad at China so you don't pay attention about what's happening in your own house. I'm like, you're doing exactly what they want you to do.
Exactly.
But I don't think they'll learn. And like, so I started watching this documentary. I didn't finish it though. It's on Netflix about something about Xanax. In the title, it's like, I can look it up, but it's talking about Xanax, the pill, and like why it's prescribed. And in the beginning of it, they're talking about like the rise of anxiety and like why we as people in our world are more anxious. And a lot of, like, one of the things that stands out to me was they were talking about the news and how, you know, like growing up, the news was on from like 5 to 6, and then 11 to 12 or 11:30, and like that was it. That was Nowadays you're constantly consuming news, and these topics that are coming to you aren't like lighthearted. It's like mass shooting, school shooting, like, you know, whatever, war. all this stuff, and it's like constantly like, and it's just making us anxious. And I think for us, maybe we're a little more distracted, but like boomers, like my mom's retired, so all she's doing is sitting at home.
Exactly.
Even more so, like consuming. Like, I lived with my mom when I was like transitioning from apartment to a house for like a month or two, and it's like the Today Show, and then CNBC News. It's just like back to back to back. I'm like, yo, I was like, can you put on like, I don't know, a Netflix, a sitcom or something? I'm like, I can't consume that much information. It's like making my brain hurt. I think that's part of the problem too, is they just sit there and watch the news
and consume all this dramatic news.
Yeah, over and over again.
Yeah. And I feel like YouTube too. I love YouTube. It's my favorite platform.
Really?
Or of entertainment.
Do you have the YouTube TV?
Actually, I don't have the TV, but I don't think the things that I want on. I have YouTube Premium.
Is this a plug for your podcast?
Kind of. Actually, loving YouTube so much is probably the reason why. Because the podcasts I consume them through YouTube, not through like Spotify or something like that.
Yeah.
But YouTube is kind of like the Wikipedia.
Right.
Or it's just anyone can post whatever they want. I mean, there's some kind of guidelines and stuff like that, but basically it's everyone's opinion in video form. It's
being thrown at you. Same thing with like TikTok too, right? Like I mean, I cringe every time I like go to therapy, and I was like, I saw this TikTok, and I was like, I'm sure you're tired of hearing this, but I saw this TikTok, and it says I might have, and I also think like on the same topic of that is like we just like believe these people's credentials, and they could you just like making it up. Like, hi, my name's Jess. I am a licensed life coach, and this is why you're anxious. And you're just like, oh, okay. Like, what's a life coach? Where'd you get licensed? Like, like we just believe it.
And even if they do have some kind of credentials, it doesn't mean whatever they're saying is law or correct or whatever,
Yeah.
So
I think it was Kat that talked about that too, how like she was saying like everything's generalized, or like you're leaving out outliers, and like nothing is like exact.
Something that can work for some group of people and going to work for others,
Yeah, like I hate those videos. I think she referenced it like where it's like if he's doing these things, he's anxiously attached.
Yeah.
It's like, or he's just a human, and like yeah.
But this is why we talked about when we spoke about attachment. Is like you can have a little bit of each. It's just what do you gear towards more.
Yeah.
And when I did that exam, I actually came up as secure. But then we did this other one, and I was like, anxiously what? Anxiously.
It was fearfully avoidant.
Fearfully avoidant.
Or disorganized.
Yeah.
Fearfully avoidant.
It's the one that combines anxious and avoidant.
Yeah.
Like, it's a combination of those two, which is almost a complete opposite of secure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what the difference was, the test that I did with Kat, it only asked about romantic or friendship relationships. Not past parenting relationships. This one that we took this morning, that one asked mostly about
growing up,
attachment with the mother, attachment with the father.
Yeah.
And I love both my parents, but I'm pretty sure that's what dragged me down. Yeah. Because I had issues with my parents growing up.
Same. Yeah.
We're good now,
Yeah.
I love them both. They love me. I have no doubt that they love me. It's just their parenting styles were not great.
Right. Same.
So I think that's what dragged me down in my score.
Which I think is interesting because I took it and we were the same. Yeah. Which I was like, I called it. I was like, I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to be. Here you go. But your parents, they're the ones who, for lack of a better term, fuck you up first. They're the first people you love, and how they display love is how you will think of love initially. And the thing about attachments is that, like, you can change them. And I also think, like, I think I'm fearfully avoidant, and I think it's very obvious to me because there's, like, a spectrum, right? And so for me, I just avoid dating. Like, so I wasn't surprised when I got avoidant because I'm like, I don't do it, so I'm avoiding it. But I think I'm secure in other relationships.
Like friendship relationships? Yeah.
Like, I have my best friends that, like, I literally have no fear of them leaving or whatever the case is. Because for me, I'm avoidant because of I've had, like, a lot of trauma in my life where very important people to me died, right? So, like, for me, when they say, like, fear of abandonment, it's like these people are going to die and leave me. And so for my brain, it's like, well, then you just don't connect with anyone, and then that won't happen, right? So that's why I am avoidant for the most part. And also because my parents fucked me up. But
yeah. So, I mean, you're afraid. I mean, everyone's going to die at some point, right?
Right.
Obviously, some people go before others.
Yeah.
Do you think it's healthy to try to not attach to people just for the fear that they might die? Like,
no, it's incredibly unhealthy.
Okay.
And I'm working on it in therapy because, it's completely unhealthy. Because it's not like I'm not lonely. Yeah. Like, I do yearn for, like, a partner, someone to spend my life with. And, like, I'm getting older, and, like, the people in my life's priorities are changing because they're finding their partners and they're having kids and they're doing all these things. And I'm like, well, it looks fun, kind of, right? But yeah, it's not for lack of wanting. It's like, it's a version of a fear of abandonment. Like, I'm scared of being left. But for me, I think a lot of people suffer with the fear of abandonment, especially if you have this emotional or like lack of emotion parenting, like parents that didn't value your emotions. I don't know, it could be formed by anything. But a fear of abandonment, first, a lot of people is like being left. And mine is still being left. It's just like more of like leaving in terms of dying.
Got it. I think for me, it's not afraid of abandonment. But if I had to like look back at my childhood, I'm very introverted. It takes a lot for me to go out there and be an extrovert, but I force myself to because just being introverted all the time doesn't make me happy. You know, like I do need my alone time, and believe me, I leave myself enough. But then being in my house all day just also doesn't feel good. So I force myself out there. This is why joining the gym. This is why hanging out with friends.
Same, yeah.
Starting this podcast.
Yeah.
Forces me to go out there. But when I was younger, my parents fought a lot. And I remember my childhood is dominated by that. That's all I can remember between my parents, is them just fighting. So the point when they actually divorced, I was actually happy about it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what they need. And that was 7, 8 years old.
Yeah. Like you're not supposed to be having those thoughts.
Yeah. And I knew this was the right thing to do. But the good thing is they sat me down and they were like, this has nothing to do with you. We still love you. You know, all these things. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
And when I was just sitting there and I was like, I know this ain't my fault.
Yeah.
I was like,
Ain't me.
It's definitely not my fault. This is a problem with you guys. And I knew this. But then me and my dad moved to Miami. And I didn't grow up with my mom since then, you know? But I talk with her on the phone like at least once a week ever since then. So I have some kind of relationship with her. But it's not the traditional relationship of, you know, where the mom's always like, oh, what do you need, baby? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I had to kind of grow up without that. And my mom was very strict. But I don't blame her because her upbringing was way worse than mine.
Yeah.
So I can understand now. But because of that, my mom was so strict with me. I could not speak. I could not talk unless I was asked. Around adults, I had to be respectful. And I'll get spanked a lot if I wasn't. And I think that's what kind of made me an introvert. You know? And so whenever I was in school or something like that, I was always afraid to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Constantly afraid to get in trouble.
Yeah. So you just don't do anything.
So I just didn't do anything.
You avoid it.
I avoid it.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So I do have a little bit of avoiding in there.
Yeah. Do you agree with your attachment? Like when, like the one that we took, do you agree with that? Do you think you're an avoidant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I look at it, I have a little bit of everything. It's kind of hard to pinpoint.
Yeah. I think that's also the thing about attachments is like, they can differ depending on maybe the type of relationship that you're in. Like for me, like I feel very secure in my friendships, but I can also be anxious in my friendships, but I can also completely avoid dating. But I also think that if I were in a healthy relationship with someone, that I would probably be secure because I'm also not scared to like
tell
the person how I feel. And if they can't handle it, I'll be like, all right, well, not gonna work. Like I feel like I would have that mentality. I don't see myself getting involved with someone at this point in my life who couldn't also be secure I think they would have, you know, anxious or whatever, but I think our relationship would be secure. If I'm going to get in a relationship at this point, it would have to be secure. I don't see myself like stepping into something toxic.
Yeah.
You know,
you're not going to deal with.
I used to, because another thing about attachments is like anxiously attached people are usually attracted to avoidance, and that's where you have that like push and pull of relationships. Like I'm sure you've maybe experienced them or been in one, or like had your friends have been in one or whatever, where they're like the push and pull of like of the toxic, because usually one's avoidant and the other one's anxious, because that's generally what you get attracted to. And the idea is to either I think the idea is to have at least a secure relationship between two people, whether they're anxious or not. Like, you're going to always have those tendencies.
Exactly. I think you can be anxious, or what's the other one? Avoidant. And still make it work as long as you kind of are open to discussing that with each other. I mean, this isn't nothing new. Communication is the most important thing in any relationship. And being able to communicate well and accept that communication, you know, you'll be kind of okay. Yeah.
But it's like really, I think the hardest part for that is at least I think, I don't know, I don't date, so I haven't dated in a long time. But I imagine that if you're an anxiously attached person and dating an avoidant person, like if they're not aware enough to like know that they're an avoidant,
Exactly.
and vice versa, if you're an avoidant or whatever, then they're just gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like
Exactly.
everything's fine, or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is great, or this, you know,
I
like
thought everything was going
yeah,
great.
yeah. Because when you are anxious and you're with it, and I'm speaking from experience because before I knew what the hell anxiously attached was, like so let me give you some background. In addition to also like going through like traumatic events where like deaths and the people important to me. Growing up, I was very, like, grew up in a very, I don't know, Hispanic, unemotional household. We didn't talk about things. You never addressed the elephant in the room. I was fed, clothed, had a good time for the most part, but my emotional needs were, like, never met, ever. So I got to a certain point in my life where I was like, well, I should probably learn how to do this. So I started learning how to, like, deal with emotions. But in the meantime, I was very anxiously attached to everyone I dated. And I was attracted to avoidance because you're like chasing this like high of like, I'll get them to love me. Then I will feel valued, important, whatever. So that's what I did for a long time. And I noticed this pattern in my life. And I think the scariest part for me was that it was so subconscious that I was dating the same person. Even if it wasn't like I saw a red flag and I was like, that's my man. Like, I was just kept attracting the same person, even when I was trying not to. Yeah. And I was like, okay, something's fucking wrong here. Like, I need to fix this. So that's when I started, like, really deep diving into myself and, like, learning what the hell was going on. And a lot of it was, like, anxious attachment and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And then after that, I dated a really nice guy. He was so nice and, like, and it was... For me, it was like reaffirming that I was on the right path of like, look, I can actually attract like decent, nice people. Wasn't my person, but
it wasn't because you eventually didn't want him, or
yeah,
okay.
It was just someone I was dating that was nice and it was good, but it wasn't my person, and it was such a breakthrough for me because I was like, yeah, no, that's not my person. It wasn't like, he doesn't fucking want me, and like, I gotta like, it was just like, we went on dates, he was nice, could have had a good life probably.
Were you attracted to him?
Yeah.
So, this is one thing I've been trying to figure out. I don't know if I told you this. I feel like we're always trying to date up, meaning like we're always trying to date someone slightly out of our league, right?
Yeah.
Just like right above.
Yeah.
And since everyone's trying to do that, we're not matching well, you know? Like, ideally you'd want to date like either straight across or, you know, someone's always gonna be a little bit more attracted to the other. Would you agree with that? Or do you think in some relationships it can be completely even?
I think I saw this TikTok. No, I remember reading something about how like, what was it? Like the most successful relationships are when like someone loves someone like a little bit more, right? Like it's like when the guy's obsessed with the girl, I think is what it was, or I guess whatever.
We're talking about TikTok here now.
Yeah, we're talking about in like straight relationships, right? When the male is like obsessed with the female, that's like those relationships tend to last longer.
What do you think that is?
I think any relationship, yeah. I think if one person is like more obsessed with the other person, those are the most successful relationships.
Yeah. I also have not another theory, but the thing where you seem to be more attracted to the person who's not giving you the attention, right?
Correct, yeah.
And I thought, like, why is that? Because this is probably...
Oh, I could talk for hours about that, but continue.
My biggest issue. And I always think, like, why... There's a good amount of people that probably give me a good amount of attention, or that are probably very good for me, but why don't I feel as attracted to them as I probably should be?
Yeah.
But then I'm attracted to the ones that probably
want
give me
you.
no attention. And it's always this like, there's this thing about us trying to, we love the chase. Like we love the idea and the fantasizing of
Yeah.
getting the person we want. But in some cases when we do that, and we actually do, and this has also happened to me, when we do get that person,
It's not what you thought it was.
it's not what you think it was.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just the anticipation, or it was just the chase, or it was just this.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that's always the case, because I have done that and actually really liked that person and gotten into a relationship, and it didn't work out for other reasons down the line.
Yeah.
But there's been plenty of cases where I think it's called love bombing. I used to do this a lot when I was in my 20s, where I would do that to try and get this person, you know, to like me. And then when they finally showed me that, then I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
this isn't what
That was
where did these feelings go? Like it literally, like I had these loving feelings. It wasn't disingenuous. I did like
Yeah.
them, and I felt the need to do that.
Yeah.
But then when it actually happened, those feelings kind of dissipated. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, what was that?
I mean, that pretty much explains like every relationship. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to that, but any relationship or anything I pursued from the age of like 19 to probably like 32, where I was like, I think I have a problem because this is not working out for me. I think for me, it could come from a lot of places, but I think for me, it's like a self-esteem thing. It's like you just decide that getting this person is going to be what finally makes me feel like I matter, or that I am all of these things, that whatever it is, right? If I get this person, like I'll feel like I'm finally like the hottest girl in the room, or whatever the case may be. So for me, like looking back to when I did that, it was a self-esteem thing where I just decided that was how I was going to feel worthy. And you chase and you chase and you chase. And I say this a lot, but you chase something, you will get it. It's inevitable. I would say 9 times out of 10, you'll get it. I can't tell you one time I chased and didn't get it. And then you get it and you're like, oh no, like this fucking sucks. Because usually what you're chasing, at least for me, was a mirror of exactly what I didn't want. And I have, like, when I look back at my life and of not just dating, but anytime I made a big decision, right? Like I moved across the country for a job. I've like quit jobs or whatever. Everything leading up to that point was fucking smooth, right? It was like, I wouldn't say it was smooth, but it was an easy transition. It felt easy. It felt comfortable. It felt smooth and like enough for me to be like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. If you're having to work that hard to get someone to like you, it's because they're not meant for you.
Yeah.
And that goes like I feel like with anything. Like, I mean, even buying a car. Like I went to buy my car. There was 2 cars on the lots. Both were the ones I was deciding between. And I bought the car that I wanted. And it was easy in the sense of like, I didn't hit all these hiccups. Like it wasn't easy for me to, to like sign over and commit to a 5-year, all that stuff. That was hard. But the car being on the lot, the one that I wanted, it was there. Like all those things were just check, 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 check. And then I made the decision to buy the car. When I moved across the country, like, everything lined up. Like the apartment that I wanted, the Airbnb was in the perfect location that I stayed. Like all those things, I still made the decision to move across the country. But those things, and I feel like with romantic relationships, we tend to forget that we have a choice. We're like, we just decide that like, I want this person to like me. And then nobody ever asks like, do I even fucking like them? And then by the time you ask yourself that, you're like, fuck, I don't. I just liked the idea of them.
Yeah, I mean, so it seems like you get a lot of your information from TikTok.
And life, yeah.
And I get a lot of my information from YouTube.
Yeah.
So we're off to a great start.
Yeah.
But a video that I saw was that it's kind of like we're addicted to dopamine, so we're always looking for dopamine hits.
Yeah.
And the pursuit is, once you get it, or the pursuit of it gives you that little bit of dopamine, because that's the motivating hormone.
For sure. And that's
You know?
why, like, online dating is, like, so, like, it's just a dopamine hit. If I swipe right and this person likes me, great. I think, dopamine plays a huge part of it, too, but I think there's other factors too. Like,
I'm sure. Yeah.
I think like healthy, secure person's probably not going to chase. And like, there's this quote, like, I won't chase, but like, I'll do a little jog. Like, I'm not saying that like it's going to be easy. And like, yes, there's going to be a level of pursuing, right? So like,
you have to put some effort into
exactly.
it.
Yeah. Same thing with like manifestation. Like, you can't just sit here and say like, I'm going to get a new job and then not do anything about it. Like, when I wanted a new job, I applied for a job I was like, one job a day I'm applying for, even if I don't like even really want, like, I was just applying for a job every day, and I got the job that I wanted, and like I really feel like I truly like manifested this job that I have currently. But yeah, you have to do some work, so it's not just completely like there's some chase involved. Given
that you put in all that work to get the job you wanted, eventually you get it, and you know that you can get almost anything you want, because I kind of would agree. I think if you put enough effort into something, you're going to get it. Relationships is, like, if you try to apply that, I try to apply it to relationships. It takes another person, so it's not just your motivation. It's also the person you're talking about. But having said that, you need to be okay with dating a lot of people before you find your person.
Yeah.
So, don't you think taking a break is okay, but not taking a break forever from dating is...
Are you calling me out right now? Yeah.
A little bit, I'm trying to say. Is you need to put yourself out there in order to eventually find someone if you want.
Correct.
So...
1000%, yeah.
And this is what I try to do with myself. I still constantly put myself out there. And even though it's hard to get rejected, it's hard to talk to so many people before you can find... Like, all of this stuff is hard. It's like, honestly, relationships have been the hardest thing in life for me, in my opinion. Work, success, all these other things, or what we value as success, friends, that all seems to come pretty easy if I put the work into it. Relationships seem to be a little bit harder. Yeah. Having said that, I'll never lose like motivation or faith. Like, I know what I need to do. Yeah. Because I know that not doing anything about it will always end in no success.
Correct, and I am living proof of that. Yeah. 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 I think as
I don't think you're living proof of it.
Well,
I think
I'm currently.
Yeah.
I mean, I complain about it all the time, and like, I think there's also a level of like, we wish that it was easy, and when I look around and I'm like, and I go down this rabbit hole all the time of like, why is it so hard for me but so easy for other people? And I don't think that that's actually true, right? Yeah. Like, it probably was hard for them. They all have their own set of shit that they went through to get to their partners, and then now they have their partners. It's a whole other fucking set of issues, because people that I know that are in healthy relationships, they still have their issues that they have to deal with. I think relationships are just like a never-ending process of things, but I think relationships, adult relationships, they're hard because they're conditional, and like, they can end and they can go away, or they can stay forever, and you just kind of like teeter-totter that line of like, well, we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, and you got to accept that, right? Like, once you accept...
Which is hard, yeah.
Yeah,
it is hard. For
hard.
me, that's the hard thing, is that like, I know this is going to end one way or another, so I don't do it, which is like not what you should do, because, I have a friend and she's always like, just see what happens. Like, you never know. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like, I wish I could be that. And like, she does. She just is just like, well, just enjoy the journey. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that.
I mean, but that's a good way to think about it, though, right?
It is, yeah. It's like, it's how it should be.
Don't put too much emphasis on, is this going to last forever? I think if you come at it with the mentality of, let's just see where this goes. This is just for fun. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Yeah. You're putting a little less like emotion into it. Yeah. Go into it as like a game, having fun.
Right.
seeing if this, hey, this person's cute, talk to him.
Yeah.
If he's not into it, move on to the next cute one.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to
And
say.
then just keep doing that.
It should be fun. Like,
Yeah.
I think there is an element to, like, dating that can be fun because it's just meeting a new person. That's all it is. And, like, you're just going to go out and, like, meet this person and, like, they may suck and then you just never do it again. But they could also just be, like, a cool person and you could have a good conversation and, like, or maybe you'll marry them. And, like, that's kind of cool that you just, like, never know when or if you'll meet your person.
Yeah.
But,
or you just have this fun little moment with this person for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. I think relationships are interesting and they're very challenging. And I think a lot of people, because they're hard and challenging, it's like sometimes we forget to, like, have fun.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to, like, be having fun with this person that you're spending time with. And if you're constantly in your head or constantly worried about, like, am I going to marry this person? Or are they going to be forever? Like, no, probably not. Because guess what? Even if they get down on one knee and say they want to marry you and be with you forever, there's a 50% chance that that's going to end. So it's not. It's just fun. I'm, like, a big advocate of, like, do it until it's not fun anymore. And when it's not fun anymore, be like, shake hands, say, this was great, and then carry on.
I think the Buddhists, have this mentality or saying that, like, you own nothing. Everything is lent to you. Everything is borrowed. And when something leaves you, you're just returning it. So what it's trying to tell you is nobody's yours. It never was yours.
Right.
That even when we say a my person, even just saying that word, that's your ownership of that person or that relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
And you got to be okay with saying, no, this isn't mine. This is just something, that's lent to me for now, and it could be returned. It could go away.
Yeah.
And just having that in the back of your mind kind of like takes the pressure off. It's a little hard, though, because when you get really attached to somebody, of course, you don't want them to leave. This is a primal thing in us where, but, the Buddhists are really good at fighting urges, biological urges within us. Like, that's their whole religion, is trying to fight those biological. Because if we just went off of our emotions, this is how wars get started, and this is how murders happen, and this is, like, they understood a long time ago that our emotions can be very, very bad.
They can be,
And trying to like, the whole point of life is trying to limit those urges, also limiting desires. This is something I'm trying to work on right now. I'm reading a book by Naval Rapnica, and the first part was business. Didn't really tell me something I already knew, but it just reinforced that what I already knew was, solid. So I'm happy about that. But then the second part is happiness, and this is the part where the whole thing he's trying to say is just limit your desires, and he gets it from Buddhism. So, like, if you really, really want something, it's probably not going to happen. But if you start limiting, the things you want, maybe eventually it'll, you can live a happier life.
Yeah, I think that's true in a lot of ways. And, like, I think everything in moderation, including, like, people, and from people to food to, like, porn. Like, you got to, like, control your desires and urges. Otherwise, nothing's going to feel good.
Yeah. And your emotions also is what makes you feel terrible. But also listen to your emotions, right? Like, I think if you're feeling a certain way, understand what you're feeling. But don't ignore it completely. So
I think that's, like, something I talk about is with, like, my friends. Like, sometimes it's hard to decipher between your anxiety and, like, your intuition, because sometimes you have a gut feeling and it's right, or sometimes you're just anxious and it's just your shit. Like, it doesn't mean anything, overthinking something. And I think that's where, like, journaling comes in, and, like, that kind of helps, like, help figure out, because your emotions are telling you something, and it could be your body giving you a warning sign. I think especially, like, in, like, romantic relationships, right? Like, if you leave a person and you feel anxious all the time, like, it's probably your body warning you of, like, this person's maybe bad or whatever the case is. But I think your emotions, they can definitely tell you things. Anger too, like, I used to be really reactive, whether I was angry or mad, and, like, don't know if you've ever been like texting and like you're like, I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm about to fucking say it. You know, like in those moments, like I would just, and then you come back and you feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like someone's not answering you and you're just like going off on them and they're like, I was in a meeting. And then you look like an idiot because you sent like 7 messages of like, fuck you too.
Yeah.
So I used to be like that, like super reactive. And then it's normally a trigger. Like it's like, when I would just break it down, like, why do I feel like this? Like, what am I actually anxious about? Because I'm not actually anxious that this person's not texting me back. Like, there's something else. Like, there's some sort of trigger that my body's trying to tell me right now.
Yeah. So I think we've diagnosed
My
issues. Well, issues for the both of us.
Is there alcohol in here?
What are some solutions, do you think? Like, you don't have to say, like, this is what I'm doing right now, but what do you think are some solutions? I'll tell you some of mine that I've been doing. But for you, what are some things you think you should do in order to help with relationship issues?
Well, let's see. I started, it's been a slow burn for me, because I did have like some like traumatic shit that happened to me. And so my like dating issues kind of took a back seat to that, where I started working on myself and dealing with like PTSD and all that shit. And now I'm just kind of like swinging back into that. So for me, it's like just a level of self-awareness, and like I was able to recognize like, hey, like I don't want to be attracted to these type of people anymore. So I think having that self-awareness and just recognizing that like I want to date a certain person and it's not what I'm attracted to currently. So for me, I just got really like conscious about what I want out of a partner. And I try not to like entertain less than that. So I don't know, set my standards kind of high.
Yeah.
And I'm also unwilling to lower them. And a lot of people, because I say I'm lonely all the time, people don't understand that. Because it's like, well, just go on dates. Like, I don't want to go on a date with like this 27-year-old that is not going to go anywhere. That would be my normal reaction.
Yeah.
But I also understand that I should go on the date with a 27-year-old that's not going to go anywhere, because I'm going to learn something and maybe I'll have fun and maybe it'll go somewhere. So that's what I'm trying to work on personally, is to be more of a yes person instead of just avoiding it altogether. So going on the dates, trying to like personally be less pessimistic about dating, because I have a tendency to be a man hater and a pessimist about dating. So I'm trying to work on that and just be more mindful of like, I think what you say is a reality. So if I'm just walking around here bashing men all the time, then yeah, I'm probably not going to meet a good one. And if I do, I'll probably scare them away. So I'm just trying to be more optimistic, trying to actually say yes more. And for me, it's like getting back on the apps, which I know they suck, but just being a pessimist. Yeah. But I'm trying to be more mindful of it, because as much as they do suck, I know a lot of people who have met their significant others on there that are happy. So not everybody sucks on there.
Yeah.
And then I'm like always just personally on the pursuit of like just being the best version of myself. So just going to therapy, working out, trying to eat right, and, you know, do all those things. I also started this new therapy, but this might be a whole other topic for like another episode.
Okay.
But it's called TMS therapy. It stands for something magnetic. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Oh, I think I've heard of this recently.
Yeah.
I want to say, did you tell me about this before?
I don't know, maybe.
TMS.
Yeah.
TMS. I don't even know how to say this word. Transcarnial magnetic stimulation.
Something. Yeah. Stimulation, yeah.
Am I saying that first word right? Transcarnal. T-R-A-N.
Transcranial.
Transcranial.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Transcranial.
I was trying to like spell it out in my head. Yeah, transcranial, because it is your head, yeah.
This picture, okay, yeah, this is why it's called transcranial.
Yes.
Look at this picture.
Yeah, that's kind of me. It doesn't look like that, but
Okay. Okay. TMS is a procedure that uses magnetic fields to stimulate nerve cells in the brain to improve symptoms of major depression.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this on the next one.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like
Well, yeah, we can talk
like
about
a
the next one.
wireless lobotomy.
Well, so I can give you like a little, like elevator pitch about it.
Okay.
You can tease it. So TMS therapy, yes. What is it? Transcranial magnetic stimulation. So basically, you go and you sit in this machine, and you have a prefrontal cortex, and you have different parts of your brain that control different things. The right side of your brain is depression. So on the right side, if you suffer from depression, those neurons are like not firing enough, so you want them to fire more. On the left side, if you suffer from anxiety, they're overfiring, so you want them to relax. And then the front of your brain is like for like right? That's like if you suffer from like OCD or ADHD or PTSD, you want the front of your brain to relax.
Okay.
So basically, it's you commit to 6 weeks of going 5 times a week for about an hour, and you go and you sit in this chair, and they have this machine that hooks up to you, and it stimulates your brain. So I get all 3. I get the trifecta.
Nice.
So on the left side, it's basically like a tapping. It doesn't hurt. It's more annoying than anything.
Is it tapping with like a physical object, or is it like electricity?
It's a magnet, so it's like a coil.
Okay.
And then it just like, for the left side, it's firing like a certain amount every second. And then it stops, and then a certain amount every second. And then on the front and the right, it's like a tapping, because those neurons you want to relax.
Gotcha.
And just like any therapy, like if you've ever done any sort of like physical therapy, if you've ever gone to the chiropractor or anything like that, it's like very, very intense for like the first, in this situation, 6 weeks, and then you just taper off.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm doing. So maybe next time we can say if it was successful or not.
Okay. Have you done a session yet, or?
Yeah, I'm about 14 sessions in, so
that's a lot.
almost halfway. Yeah.
Okay.
So 36 sessions is total.
Do you feel like it's working?
Yes, but part of my anxiety is I'm like, is this working or?
Yeah.
So they say, like, I did a lot of research on it before I committed, because it is covered by insurance, but it is also like a little bit of a financial commitment as well. But it's not as much as it would be if I didn't have insurance. But it's still
is it a little bit experimental as well?
It's FDA approved. It's FDA, which whatever. It could mean anything, but FDA approved for depression, which is just on the left side.
Okay.
And like studies have been done on that for PTSD and anxiety. It hasn't necessarily been approved for those uses, but
for depression it has.
For depression it has, yeah.
That seems like the more serious one. I mean, PTSD is serious, right? But
yeah.
Like,
I think it's working. For me, I think everybody's depression, mental health issues manifest differently. And for me, it's a complete lack of motivation, but also it's like, the best way I can describe it is like going through the motions, where I don't feel maybe like rewarded or whatever for doing whatever I need to do. So it makes things really hard to do. I have this like a complete lack of motivation, but I've also lived with it for so long that it's a benefit to me, because like, for example, like I still go to the gym, I still meal prep, I still do those things that I need to do, but I didn't get anything from it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how my depression would manifest itself. It was just kind of feel like just going through the motions. And I've been more motivated in the past week, I would say, than I have in a long time. So for me, I feel like it's working. But we'll see. I got a couple more weeks. Then I'll let you know. I'm not going to be a new person, but I will feel better, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. It looks intense, but I will say this.
It's not that intense.
Just because of the picture I'm looking at.
Yeah, I know. That's a terrible picture. I have a picture I can show you.
Okay. But I will say that I'm pretty impressed that you're doing what you can to try to like help yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Therapy, this TMS thing. You seem to understand your issues really well.
Yeah.
And you're taking action to try and
Yeah. Yeah.
to try and do something about it.
When I talked to the psychologist before I did this, he said, like I was explaining that to him. He was about how like it's just like a lack of motivation, and he was saying like for normal people, or not normal people, none of us are normal, but for a lot of people, there's like a reward center that like they get when they complete a task, and it's like a dopamine hit, and like you feel good, and that's why you do it. So you're like, I know that like doing my laundry is gonna suck, but I'm gonna feel so good after, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have that. And I was explaining that to him, like how like I still do what I need to do, and he said he was like very in awe of me or something, or he said something like really kind like that, like how he said he respected me, and I was like, why? And he's like, because you're still doing what you need to do without a reward, and like that says a lot about you, and like and I was like, oh,
you're not collapsing into like a hole of depression.
Yeah,
like,
which I mean I have done too. You know, I think for me like I have done that. But if nothing else, I'm resilient, and like I always get the fuck out of it. But I also am lucky enough to have like a village and like a community that I can like say like I'm not doing well or whatever, and like I have those people that'll be like, come over, or like I'm coming, you know, whatever the case is. So.
Like if you're starting to feel really bad, you have someone you can call, come pick you up.
Yeah.
Do you know what could probably help you make you happier or anything like that?
Like when it comes to like depression or just...
Depression, yeah. Or is there, I know we just talked about like managing desires, but is there anything that you want that you think might make you happy? So let's just, what I'm trying to get at is, do you think a relationship would make you happy? Of course, the right relationship.
The right relationship. Right? I think also part of being an avoidant is I'm going to generalize here, but I feel like a lot of avoidants are hyper independent, and we become like very like secure in our independence. So like sometimes I think about like driving home from the gym. Like if I came home to a person right now on my couch, I'd be like, oh God, like oh my God.
I actually know what you mean.
Yeah, it's a fellow avoidant.
Yeah. I'll say a quick story after this that. Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I think if it was the right person, obviously I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess for me, like I'm not scared to do things alone. So, but I've also like gotten to that point. I've been single for a really long time, and I just kind of was like, well, I'm not going to go. Like I'm not going to go to the concert, or I'm not going to do all these things, because like I've had so many people in my life die and leave me that like I know life is short, and it's like fuck it, like I'm going to go to Europe or wherever I'm going to go by myself. If I have someone to come with me, great. If I don't, I'm still going to go. So I think that kind of helps me feel less lonely. But when I am in places and I don't have someone, I still am like, well, this would be nice with a person, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if a partner would completely make me happy. I think it would just add to my life.
I mean, the right partner or the right person that can like be there for you when you're having down times or something nice to go to. I mean, my mom goes through this too. She's like, I just want someone to do things with. Obviously, she's in her older age. She doesn't have as many friends as we do.
Yeah.
So she doesn't, something that friends can take care of for us, she doesn't have.
I feel like that's where you get in trouble though, and that's what I'm trying to avoid too. Is I don't want to be with someone just to have someone. I did that, or you know, like I've done that. So I'm like kind of working on that of like, is that necessarily the worst thing to just have someone to like do stuff with? But
I mean, but this is why you have the friends, right?
Right. But also all my friends have partners, have kids. It gets harder, you know, as I'm getting older, and like as I'm getting older and have the same amount of responsibilities, my friends are getting older and have more responsibilities. So like I don't have a lot of people in my life where I could be like, hey, do you want to go to Portugal next year to see Taylor Swift? You know, they're like, no, I'm saving for my kids to go to college. Right? And I'm like, oh, all right. So we'll see. I think the right partner would benefit my life, but I am also like I said, like teeter-tottering that line of like, I don't want to get to the point where I'm just like with someone to have someone, because I do have a lot of baggage. Like I do have like mental health issues, and like if you're with the wrong person, that shit will drive you insane.
Yeah, they'll probably add to those issues then.
Or they'll just be like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know. I feel like I would need someone who's like someone to be with me. You got to be fucking in it, because like it's gonna be a journey. And I know I have a lot of issues, and I bring a lot of baggage. And the older I get, the more baggage I'll bring. And I just don't know if I could have someone. I just don't know at this point in my life if I would settle for like some sort of like mediocrity. My mom's the same way. She has a boyfriend, and she's like, he's fine. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want. I don't want fine. Like, you know, it's like I've gone this long. I'd rather be by myself than with someone fine. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Like, unlike you, I don't think I have a lot of baggage, but I think I have high standards for who this person is in general.
Yeah, which is good. I don't think you should bring him down.
No, yeah, but I mean, I think my standards can be a little lax. I've been told a lot I'm very picky. Give me
3 of your like non-negotiables, and I'll give you 3 of my non-negotiables, and I bet you our standards aren't that high.
3 non-negotiables.
Yeah. So like when
you go first, just so I understand what you're trying to say.
So like when I think of like the partner that I want to be with, it has to be someone who like really values taking care of themselves.
Okay.
So for me, I don't necessarily care like what you do, but like what do you do for your mental health? What do you do for your physical health? Like those things are important to me. Okay. I don't care what it is, you know, whether you do CrossFit or you, I don't know, or like if you journal or go to therapy. Like I don't, that's like, for me, that's important.
What if their thing is like video games, like they're a Twitch streamer or something? Still doesn't matter?
That's not, that's like a hobby.
Okay.
But I also think that's important because that
doesn't add to your health, is what you're trying to say. Okay.
The other non-negotiable for me is like they have to have a hobby or like interest in something. I shouldn't say have to. Yeah, no, they have to have a hobby or interest in something, like something that like they enjoy or like fulfills them, whether it's like hosting a podcast or I don't know, CrossFit, yeah, something like just have some. There's nothing worse than a boring person.
I got 2 right there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, nothing worse than like a boring person. I don't know. For me, that's just like unattractive. So someone takes care of themselves, someone has a hobby, and like they also have to like really enjoy like traveling, and like doing things. Like I don't want to just be at home, but I guess those kind of tie into each other. But yeah, like traveling, experiences, like want to do things and like, but also will like plan them. It's like there's nothing also, I don't feel like there's nothing worse than being with someone where you have to like plan everything. But yeah, someone who's like, and someone who values like spontaneous like adventures and things like that. But see, I don't think that's asking too much.
No, it's not. I guess my non-negotiables would be, you got to be okay with wanting kids, because I've already been through a relationship where that person didn't want kids, and I found out I couldn't do it. Yeah. So kids is one thing. I guess the other thing would be, I guess you do have to have your own like hobby where it's like your life just doesn't revolve around me. So whatever that is, it could be yoga, it could be book clubs, it could be running. You know, it could even just be like a solid group of friends that you have that you can hang out with without me. Yeah. You know, so I think that's a second one. And then the third one, you got to be open-minded and, you know, a good person. Yeah. So you can't be, this is going to sound weird to say, but you can't hate a group of people or you can't dislike a group of people. Like, you got to be open-minded to what they do, you know? Yeah. So, you know, what I mean by that is, like, if you're super against, you know, if you're a person that's very political and super against liberals, you're probably not going to be the person for me. Yeah. And it goes the opposite way, too. Yeah. Right? Like, if there's a certain Like, if you can't hang out with a friend of mine because he's a liberal, there's a problem.
Yeah.
If you can't hang out with a friend of mine because he's a conservative, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
it's not the biggest deal breaker, but that's something that I'm a very open-minded person, and I'm going to talk to an array of people. That's actually the point of the podcast, is I want to talk to a bunch of different people. So that's maybe the third one. And honestly, the hardest thing is, like, you have to be attracted to me as much as I am attracted to you.
Right.
Like, I've had relationships, and these are the best relationships, where you can't really get enough of each other. I know at the beginning it's always like that.
Usually, yeah.
But I had a relationship where it was like that well past honeymoon. Yeah. And I think it's because it was long distance.
Probably.
That probably added to it. But those type of relationships where you're just like you're texting, you know, naughty things to each other.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type where, you know, that person, they show that they want you, you know. But I need my alone time. Like, I can't be around you all the time.
Yeah.
And with that same person during COVID, I went to go stay with her. She had an apartment in Brickell. I went to go stay with her, and I was there for maybe 4 or 5 weeks. And at the end of it, I was like, I gotta go back home. I was just like, this is way too much. And this is where my I need my alone time started to kick in. That was an extreme situation because we were locked in a 1-bedroom apartment for those 5 weeks. We couldn't even go out to do things together.
Yeah.
Like, we were just me and her the whole time. And that's when I felt like I just want to break, you know? And
do you think that relationship, because it was long distance, do you think that the long distance was just like another layer of thrill of the chase?
So I only saw her every other weekend. So yeah, I mean, time spent apart.
Yeah.
You know, what is there a saying that being apart makes the heart grow fonder? Is that true? Is that the same? Something like that.
Well, if you let it go, it comes back. That's how you know. Something like that.
Yeah. Whatever it was, I'm pretty sure it added to it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it added to it. But also, I think if we were together, and what I've learned from that is I would manage, you know, the time together. So, like, even if it was someone here, I would much prefer to be with someone. I think being long distance is horrible.
Yeah.
I don't want to do long distance because, you know, the anticipation might make it. That's not what I want at all.
Yeah.
But I think if I do find someone here, I would have to manage how much, like, maybe every day together at the beginning is probably not the right thing to do. You know, I do want bro time. I do want times where I can hang out with my friends alone.
Yeah.
Or hang out with myself alone, even. I think that's going to be important to me. But I also want to have the feeling, and for that person to have the feeling of wanting to be with each other. Like, we know we shouldn't spend every waking moment together.
Yeah.
But being apart from each other makes us feel like, I want to be with that person.
Yeah.
And that's where texting comes in. Like, I want someone to be out there with their friends and send me a text saying, I'm thinking about you right now. Like, that's what I want. That's great.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. I think that makes sense. And I also don't think anything that you said was like that your standards are too high. I don't think anything about that is.
Yeah. But I think what people think is, like, the things I find physically attractive might be too high. But this is where I say, like, all of us are trying to date up, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to date. I'm not trying to date up.
Yeah, but you had this guy who was really sweet to you, and I asked you, were you physically attracted to him? And you were like, you know, so one could say, I'm not saying in your situation, this particular one, but, you know, there is someone out there who will treat us the way we want to be treated. Are you physically attracted to that person? Is the question in that moment.
I think I think physical attraction is obviously very important aspect of any relationship. I think as I've gotten older, the things that I find physically attractive, or it becomes less. But yeah, obviously physical attraction is important because you want to see, like, do I want to see this person naked?
Yeah.
Like that was a question I asked for the guy I was dating. Do I want to see him naked? No, I don't. And I didn't. And I was like, this is never going to work. He was nice. He was sweet. He was great. He's married now.
Yeah,
Shout out
exactly.
to him. Like, he's living his best life, but he wasn't my person.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still dated him. And I think you'd be surprised at what happens when you date. If you date a funny 5, all of a sudden they're a 7.5, and all of a sudden they're a 9, and next thing you know, you wake up next to them, and you're like, how did we get here? But if you never, like, look at the 5, you know, they're not going to become more attractive over time. And I think that attraction can build over time. Like, yes, there's this initial attraction, and, like, yes, it's important, and, like, sure, like, you see someone super hot, and you want to rip their clothes off, and, like, that's great, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
And usually those situations, like if you do, you know, date someone that's really good looking, and I think guys do this more, it's usually not going to end well. Like if men have a variety of options of just being thrown at him where he barely has to, you know, put any effort, they don't seem to settle down
Right.
pretty quick. They move on very fast.
Yeah.
So
True. I think, I don't know. I also think that comes with age too. I don't know. Like if you're in your 20s, like, yeah, you should just be having sex with hot people. Like that's all you should be worried about, you know? But at some point you got to be like, is this person are hot and nice and I want to like actually be with them, you know? But
yeah.
physical attraction is important. I just don't, for me, it's like not the most important. And I think perhaps it could build over time. Let me go on a little rant here. When you're hot, when you are attractive, like when just saying conventionally attractive, when you are a conventionally attractive person, things come to you easily. You don't have to work for things. Things are just like in your life from when you're a kid to when you're older.
Everything's easy.
Everything's easy.
Yeah.
And like they just don't have the like umph of like life hasn't, I'm not, this is
Life
very
hasn't
much
kicked me in the
generalizing,
balls, yeah.
but life hasn't smacked him in the face yet. And it's just different. And like if you're hot and you're always pulling whoever, guys, girls, like you're probably not good at, like, you know, like I don't know. So
this is
the best kind of person is someone who like has been through some shit. Like I would love to meet someone who like used to be like overweight and like they had lost weight and like got skinny and hot and then like had like that struggle, you know. I want someone who's had some fucking struggle in their life.
So my thing is I feel like most women can almost get any man they want in bed. I think that's very easy because men are just that easy, right? But that doesn't mean that, but it's hard for you to get a relationship out of that man, right? Like a long lasting relationship. So like what I'm trying to say is if you find someone that you're attracted to, right? And he's objectively attractive. He'll probably sleep with you 100%. If you give it to him, he'll probably going to take it. But then trying to get that man to settle down with you is a completely different story. Men kind of have the opposite issue. They see a hot girl, they're going to do everything they can to get that person to bed by being as extremely caring and nice and funny as possible.
And you wonder why girls have issues.
So, but I'm not saying like they got to put their best foot forward up front to get it. And then maybe eventually that girl will see them, oh, this is a nice guy and blah, blah, blah. And then they can, you know, get the sex or whatever. Or the relationship if they want it. So it's easy for girls to get any man they want, but keep them. And it's hard for men to get the girl from the beginning. Not all men, of course. Obviously, the top 20%. You know, they kind of have it easy.
Well, I also think a lot of that is like, I think a lot is like, it's just communication. Because if you're just like, if you're just pretending, because this happened to me before, like when I dated this guy and like we went on a couple dates, like had fun, we slept together, and then that was it. It's like, if that's all you wanted, you could have just told me that. the issue is that, like, I don't think people know that that's what the problem is, right? Like, they don't know, or not the problem, but, like, they don't know that that's what they were doing. And so I did think he was genuine in wanting to date me, and then he slept with me, and he was like, oh, well, that's really all I wanted. I don't want to actually date you. But people aren't, like, self-aware enough to know that. And I think that's where, like, it becomes, like, a conflict. Cause, yeah, I guess that's why dating is so hard. I think there's, like, I guess, a beauty to, like, meeting someone and just being on the same page, which is incredibly difficult.
But you have to go through all of that, right?
Yeah,
so you have to be kind of okay. And I'll tell all my girlfriends this, like, don't just give sex very quickly. Make them work for it a little bit. Because, like, if this girl would have had sex with me the first or second date, she would have had sex with me, and, you know, maybe I would have just kept it as a situationship.
Yeah.
You know? Until she asked me something.
Do you think that that's a bad thing? Like, that's a good, like, do you think situationships are a bad thing?
I think I'd be okay with something casual if the person was up for it for now. Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
So I think that's also, like, I teeter-totter on that, too, because, like, the last guy I hooked up with, it was just that. Like, it was just situationship. I don't even know if it's situationship, because there wasn't really much ship. And I was just like, I feel like for me, it's just a distraction.
It could be a distraction. Yeah. As long as it's very clear.
Right.
To both people, right? It has to be clear. If you want something more that the other person's not giving you, say something.
Yeah.
And then that person needs to be honest about what it is.
But just to be devil's advocate, why would I be honest if I'm getting everything that I want? Right. So, like, a situation.
You talk about as the other person.
Probably the other person, most likely the man. Because I think it's you that told me it's, like, amazing what guys will do when they're not actually, like, committed to the person. Like, they'll still, I don't fucking, like, meet the family or, like, go on, like, you know, family trips and shit. Yeah. And then, like, you know, and then be like, I told you I didn't want a girlfriend. Like, the level of, like, that men, I'm generalizing, but the level that men can, like, disconnect their emotions from such, like, an emotional experience is, like, it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, I can't control all men. This is something I wouldn't do. I mean, this is something I wouldn't do, you know. But in that case, like, if you ask the person, he's like, yeah, you can come with me to my, you know, parents' vineyard, and the whole family's going to be there, and blah, blah, blah. And you're thinking in your mind, oh my God, he's inviting me to the parents, this and that. And for him, it might not be. Yeah. You need to ask them pretty early on, like, what is this? Do you want a relationship with me? Yeah. If they say no, but you stay around while they introduce you to their friends and all this other stuff. Yeah. I mean, he did say no, you know, so you gotta be okay with that at that moment. You know?
It's just, that's the thing. And, like, this, talk about avoiding is, like, that's, like, what scares me is, like, it's hard to do that, like, to have, like, that disconnect within yourself, because women, we are emotional creatures. As much shit as we like to talk about men or whatever, like, we're fucking smitten, and we emotionally are, like, connected to whoever we're dating or hooking up with or whatever fucking situationship we're in. We talk a lot of shit, but we're fucking smitten, and that's why we're doing it. And it's, like, hard to, like, disconnect that, to be like, well, I'm just gonna pretend I don't like him. Even though, like, deep down, you wouldn't be at his house every fucking night if you didn't like him.
This happens to men too. This happens to men too.
You could do a lot of avoiding of like why you're actually here or there or
I mean,
liking this person.
I'll be honest and say, like, there are times where I can't date someone else because I'm still hung up on someone that I know probably doesn't like me in the same way. It takes time to get through it. But eventually you have to.
Yeah, for sure. I also think, like, I don't know, dating's hard too because it's, like, other people's feelings, and we, as generalizing again, as women, like, we're going to always feel a responsibility for you, like, your feelings. And so a lot of times, like, we just don't want to hurt the other person, right? I think men do that too. So they like stay in things or avoid hard conversations or lie to themselves or lie to yourself about what you're doing and why you're doing it because you don't want to hurt the other person, but all you're doing
I've done this too.
is hurting them more by either staying in something or, than just telling them. Like, I remember, like, when somebody I was dating, they were just like, I don't remember what the topic was, but I was like, if you would have just fucking told me that, we could have, like, avoided all this hurt. And it's like, well, I didn't want to hurt you. I'm like, well, you fucking hurt me by not telling me. Yeah. So just tell me.
And this is where experience comes in, right? You have to
Yeah.
go through this because I feel like most people, it's not their intention to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that what they're doing is going to hurt them even more.
Yeah. Like, I think sometimes, like, the truest form of loving someone is letting them go. Yeah. And I feel like we avoid that so much. It's like, well, I like this person so much or I love this person so much. I want to keep them close even though I can't give them what they need or whatever the case is, like, or it's not working. But actually, like, real true love is, like, letting someone go and find, like, what they actually deserve or want.
See, we can say this because we're in our 30s and we've gone through all of this before.
True. It's true.
People in their 20s are figuring these things out right now.
True. Yeah.
So, and, you have to go through life in order to get, know, these type of...
Gotta be a little seasoned.
And even if someone tells you, let's say someone listens to this and they're in their early 20s, they can hear it.
Oh, they're not gonna do anything.
But they don't know until you've made the mistake.
I mean, I heard it too when I was in my 20s, and I was like, no, you guys are wrong.
Yeah.
He's gonna love me. You know what he did? He got a girlfriend and moved to New York. Girlfriend wasn't me, but it's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah. You have to go through it, and this is what life is. Making your own mistakes and then learning from them and moving on.
Yeah, and in some situations making the same mistake over and over and over again. Because I also think another, like, phrase is that, like, the lesson repeats itself until you learn it. Mm-hmm. And that's why, for me, like, I kept dating the same person even, like, at a subconscious level. I was still dating. Like, I was very much attracted to, like, chaos and, like, addicts and, like, I've dated 3 guys that ended up in rehab. Like, it's weird, right? That's like a weird trait. And I didn't know... Rehab is not weird. The fact that I kept dating 3 people were with those personality traits, even, like, subconsciously. Like, I didn't know that about them. And that's where I was kind of like, something's wrong. Like, my energy that I'm putting out and what I'm attracting, like, something needs to change because I can't keep dating these, like, people at these lowest points of their lives. Because then what I would do is build them up, and then they'd be like, thank you, and then carry on. So
even with all these things, at least for me, I'm just naturally a positive person. So I always try to form them as a learning experience to keep moving forward. I very rarely stay down. I'm always trying to build myself up. And I know my issues. There's some issues that I have that I'm probably still working on. And there's some issues that maybe I'm not aware of just yet. But I'll figure them out eventually.
Yeah.
But I know what I can't do is I can't stop.
Yeah, I think you're probably one of the most self-aware men I've met in a very long time. Mm-hmm. And I think that if more men took the time and, like, I was having this discussion with a friend of mine, but there's, like, such a benefit of having that, like, self-awareness and such, like beauty to it, and you can avoid, like, some anxieties when you know how you are, and, like, if you know, like, why you are the way you are, it kind of makes it less scary. And you are just, like, very self-aware, and I think if men would, like, mimic that behavior, like, taking the time to, like, understand who they are and have some sort of self-awareness and, like, learn about attachment theory, and it's not just to, like, romantic relationships, but, like, any, like, friendship or any sort of relationship, to learn about, like, attachment theory or learn, like, what your love languages are. Like, those things are so valuable, like, important, and can just, like, help enjoy life, you know?
Yeah. I'm a deep thinker in general. I've been this way ever since college. I wasn't always this way, though, but college really nailed it into me. I'm a very deep thinker. And it may not come off the way, but I'm also an emotional person. So
Yeah.
between those two things, this is how I got to where I am. But the one advice I would give to all men that I think would help the situation, because not all men are going to learn about attachment theory and they're not going to think as deeply as I do. Mm-hmm. But I think the number one thing men can do is just be more honest with women in general about everything.
Yeah.
Just be honest. Don't try to trick. Don't try to lie.
Yeah.
Because you think you're going to hurt their feelings.
Yeah, don't, like, stop trying to protect our feelings. Like, we'll be fine.
Just be honest. You know, even if you think it's going to hurt them.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
Yeah, it's true, because what you're doing when you're honest is you're making yourself vulnerable, and when you make yourself vulnerable and you have those vulnerable connections with somebody else, that's when true intimacy forms, and that's where the strongest bonds form, and that's when you actually can, like, flourish as a partner. And I think men specifically avoid that. Mm-hmm. And so these relationships lack this, like, true intimacy. It's like, well, we hang out, you know, we eat food together, we have sex, and then we watch TV, and there's just, like, something's missing, and it's that true intimate connection that won't ever happen unless you do exactly that, where you're honest with them.
I mean, it could be a couple of things in that person's mind, but maybe they are thinking, like, I don't want to be with this person, but I don't want to hurt her feelings,
right.
So I'll go hang out with her at her house and watch the movie. You know, like, I've done these things before. So men, just be more honest with people and to yourself as well, and just put that out there. You know, it's okay to take some time to figure things out, but eventually when you're like, no, it's not going to work, be honest about it. Yeah. You know? For sure. I don't want to, time is such a valuable thing. I don't want to waste, like, I shouldn't say wasted, because spending time with someone that you care about is not a waste of time. You're going to learn something, you're going to grow. But, like, I always say, like, you're not going to marry everyone you date, and that's fine. Like, you're not supposed to marry everyone you date. You're supposed to date them and learn from them, and then take what you learn into your next relationship. And you probably won't marry that person either, but it'll probably be better. And then you'll carry on throughout your life. But, yeah, we just get so caught up on, like, not trying to hurt someone that you end up hurting them, even in a fucking worse way. Because then you spend all this time with someone that you never actually wanted to be with. Yeah. Lying through it. So, but yeah, honesty. And also, men, get a fucking journal and a pen and start writing down your feelings. Read a book, listen to a podcast. If I can sit and get my brain zapped every day for 5 days a week for 6 weeks, y'all can listen to a podcast or read a book and work on yourself. Learn about attachment theory. Something. Something. Agreed. Well, thanks for coming on. Yeah, anytime. Next time I'll tell you how my brain is. Yeah. We'll come back and we'll talk about the TMS. TMS. Yeah. The TMS. Hopefully your brain is not too... Yeah, it's not a lobotomy. Yeah, it sounds like one. That's why I said a wireless lobotomy. I hope not. Or a pickless. I don't know. But all right, we'll do this again. Thanks. Sounds good. Thank you.